Hi, sixth graders. For Math Lab number 10 today, we're going to keep going with this idea of unit rate and using division, long division, to figure out what that unit rate or unit price is. Remember, unit rate or unit price is how much for one, and unit price is really just how much money for one of those items. So this first one here says if it costs $4.35 for 5 cans of dog food, our job is to figure out what the unit price is. Remember, unit price is going to mean how much money for one. So how much money for one of those objects. So we're going to start with the ratio that we do know. We do know that it's $4.35 for 5 cans of dog food. So what they want us to do is create an equivalent ratio to that and figure out how much money it'll be for 1 can. And I encourage you to pause this video to see if you can do the division and figure out the answer yourself, and then you can come back to the video, unpause, and see if you're correct before moving on to the next question. So again, I'm going to take, if it's 5 divided by 5 will give me 1. I want to take $4.35 and divide it by 5 to get that, the number of money it is for 1 can. Now, 435 divided by 5 is not mental math that we can do like we were doing on Friday in class. So what I'm going to do is take $4.35, which happens to have a decimal in it, and divide it by 5. Now, the first thing I'm going to do before I even start is remember that if there is a decimal, we want to take and pop it right up into our answer. That decimal is a place value, and that place value matters, and we take care of it right away. So if I'm dividing by 5s, most of us know our 5 facts, or if we need to, we can grab our multiplication charts. That can help us with our dividing facts. On the side here, I can just list out the first 9 multiples of 5. Just so you can see, because my multiplication chart's a little bit tougher to show you all through my computer. So I'm making my list right there. So I'm looking at 5. How many times will 5 go into 4? And it can't, because I need 5 to make one group, and I only have 4, so that doesn't work. So I'm going to take 5 and group it with 43. Well, I can go in once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7, 8, but 9 is too much. I can only make 8 groups of 5 out of 43. So 8 times 5 will be 40. So there's going to be 3 remaining. And those 3 are not enough to make another group of 5, so we're going to bundle it with this 5. And that'll work, that'll go in 7 times, right? Because 7 times 5 is 35. So 7 groups of 5 is exactly 35. And then there's no remainder. So how much money is it for 1 can of dog food? It's 87 cents for 1 can. So there's mathematically, the unit price is $1.87 for 1. All right, next one here. Mr. Striker buys 15 Jello packs for $3. How much did he pay for each pack? So again, when they're asking how much he paid for each pack, they're asking you for the unit price or the unit rate. How much money for one? So I'm going to start by, they told us it is $3 for 15. Now some students will say, why didn't you put the 15 first? Well, because if I'm looking at unit price, it's always how much money, right? Pay for each pack. Pay was first, that's your money. In the pack was your denominator. So whenever you have money questions, the money tends to be our numerator. And my job is to figure out how much of that money it is for one of those packs. So 15 divided by 15 will give me 1. So I have to take $3 and divide by 15 to figure out how much each one of those packs was. So on the side here, I'm going to have $3. And I'm going to pop that decimal up right away so I don't forget about it, divided by 15. So now 15 is not something I can find those multiplication facts on my multiplication chart. So here's where I'm going to start. 15 makes one group. 2 15s makes 2 groups, and that's 30. Another 15, that's 45. So that'll be 3 groups. Another 15, that'll be 60. That's 4 groups. And I'm going to go one more group of 15. I'm going to make 5 groups, which is 75. Now, I might need to add to this list, but that's the start for me. So if I have 3, I can't make any groups of 15 because one group of 15 needs 15 to start, and I only have 3. So 15 will go into 30 exactly 2 times. 2 times 15 is 30, so there's no remainder. Now, I'm not finished, though, because I do have to bring down this 0. And 15 won't go into 15, so I put a 0 here, right? Not 0.2, but 0.20. And if I finish it off, there was nothing, we can't use it all. So that means it's 20 cents for each pack of Jello that Mr. Striker bought. All right, so we can say 20 cents. Now notice where my dollar sign is. It's in front of the number. We read it second, but we put it in front. It's 20 cents per pack of Jell-O if you wanted. So that's the sentence I would write to match that math right there. So I have all this long division to prove why it's 20 cents. I have my skip counting by 15s, my groups of 15s to help me with that long division. All right, and we have one more here. Mrs. Wild has 36 liters of Monster juice for the Halloween dance. She needs to pour an equal amount of Monster juice in 8 different punch bowls. How many liters of Monster juice will be placed in each bowl? So what do I know? Well, the rate that I know is she has 36 liters. Use out for liters, and she needs 8 different for 8 different punch bowls. So I'm just going to say bowls. Our job is to figure out how much for one punch bowl. So, well, I know 8 divided by 8 will give me 1. So I have to take 36 and divide by 8. And some of you might be thinking, well, there isn't a whole number times 8 that'll make 36, right? 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. So some number in between 4 and 5. You're correct. I'm going to divide, and I have 36 liters total to break into 8 equal sized groups. So again, I'm working with 8. So if I think of my 8 facts, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. I got one more here. I got the first 6 groups. I'll add to that if I need to. 8 won't go into 3. I need 8 to make a group, and 3 is not enough. 8 will go into 36 once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, but 5 is too much, so I'm going to put a 4 here. So 4 times 8 is 32. That means there was 36 liters. We're going to use 32. There's 4 remaining. And we don't use remainders in our answer now that we're in 6th grade. We're going to keep going, and I'm going to say 36 is still 36 with a decimal point at the end of it. By doing that, I can now say, hey, there's 36, and I can show you, hey, there's 0 in the tens place. That's still worth 36. I'm just showing you that there's also 0 tenths. Now, before I move on, I'm going to take this decimal and pop it up to the top. If you had Mr. Prez last year, he was real good about teaching that. So this decimal is a place value that I need to be aware of. But now that I added a decimal point and a 0, that's still worth 36. But now I can bring down this 0 to bundle up with that 4. Oh, hey, look at 8 will go into 40 exactly 5 times this time, because 5 times 8 is 40. Now I have no remainders and no more digits. So how many liters of Monster juice go in each one of those punch bowls? We would say 4 and 5/10 liters will go in each one of those punch bowls, so that all 8 are equally filled using those 36 liters of punch juice. So we could take this into words and say 4 and 5/10 liters for each punch bowl. All right, so now that you've watched me go through and do some unit rate or unit price questions, and started with writing my ratio and then figured out how to divide to figure out how much for one, it's going to be your turn to work on a handout labeled Lab 10. It is over on the trapezoid table near the homework board, but you'll notice the homework board is not up to date. I forgot to erase it on Friday. You shouldn't have any homework today as long as you finish all the classwork and lab work. As long as you do both those things, there won't be any homework today. So get working.